going to carry now with a lecture and a demonstration by Fernando about the future of synthetic and organic creativity.
Okay, welcome Omar. Omar is my assistant today, producer. Okay, so I'm going to give you a crash course on creativity. I'm going to give you a crash course on how we make hits with pop stars. And I'm also going to make you a songwriter today. So the person that walked in here is not going to be the same person that leaves. You've been warned. I will also teach you how to prompt more effectively. Who's up for the challenge? All right, so the first part of this will be a little bit more, well, just bear with it, because you need to understand what makes us human. And what makes me qualified to do this? Well, I helped catalyze a few genres, Latin music in the Western world, pop stars. I helped launch a few artists' career. Some of you may know, you two, but they started before me. But what I learned in working with artists is they do not want to work with me. I represent the doctor. I represent the I represent the song they'll be singing for the rest of their career. I represent the pain they will have to look at to have a fuel source to synthesize something to write about. Yeah, so when I have someone like a pop star come in, or not Rihanna, but someone like Rihanna will come in and she will not look at me because, you know, I'm kind of replaceable. I am a bit of the enforcer. I work for the label. I deliver, you know, their music. So I had to find ways, especially as an immigrant in the U.S., to inspire an A-list artist to want to work with me. So how I started getting inspiring artists was by asking them questions, right? And not just any questions. It's very much like prompting. Is trying to get them to open up. It was that simple. So, and I was very quiet when I started. So I started around 15 years old. I was making music, pop music. And I was still discovering who I was as a human. And in that process, I wanted to see how I can get people to, because if the artist was not speaking to me, I wouldn't get anything to write about. I would have to make it up. And that's a whole different style of music I never wanted to do. Right? I wanted to always create music that spoke to humanity. Music, for me, music was my parent. Music was my sister, my brother, everything I just felt I lacked in the world. It taught me how to see the world, how to feel love. It taught me how humans were worth fighting for, how we were worth fighting for. And I wanted the world to feel the same way about the music I created. So if I couldn't make an artist feel that inspired when they're in the room with me, then I knew I wouldn't have any music to make. And so for me, literally my life depended on me making the best, most loving music I could possibly make. So I had to develop a skill to be able to pull out who this artist was, who they, Jungian, shadow side, what are their deepest, darkest fears, what were they thinking about me when they're in the room, what made them want to do this delusional path of being a pop star, which is so difficult. What were the trigger points? And I would look for them. And over you know, doing this for 20 years, 25 years, I kept seeing these universal patterns. And mind you, I had some cheats. I studied a lot. I get bored really quickly, so I read a lot. I visit lectures. I lecture on numerous things across different universities for bragging rights. But it also gave me the language to be able to articulate this in a way that most people could understand. Okay, let's shift to the page of the skill, the framework. Thank you. All right, so here's the crash course. It's not that complicated. You have to, there you go, thank you. Actually, it is kind of wordy, but creativity is a skill. It's something you can learn. And we're gonna accept a few postulates, a few truths. Humans synthesize their life experiences, their pain, as a fuel source that drives an action, right? This neurofeedback loop driven by your amygdala, limbic, right? You feel something, so you want to do something about that. Creates this sort of creative anxiety. So when an artist comes, again, pop star, they are in a place of where, again, they're not receptive to anything. They won't look me in the eye. So I have to figure out how to establish what I call putting a mirror to their brain. Because sometimes, well, most of us can't access that deeper subconscious part of our brain unless you're with a psychotherapist or you're dreaming. It's very difficult. But with the right questions, you can get people to open up. So I need to make them upset, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I need them to channel their Aristotelian's first principle of why they decided to be an artist. Because I think that was the core essence of that's what I thought, of how I can inspire them to perform. Okay, so how do we get to someone's core essence? It's when they're an artist and a creative. Well, it usually comes from a place of deficit. Schopenhauer says you can draw a thread from what you lack as a child to what you do for the rest of your life. So if that's true, we can look at that as a starting point. So I think we should start proving out the first part. All right, I'm going to teach you how to prompt humans. Do we have a mic? Do we have a mic that can float around? Thank you. Okay, great. This is an interesting time to be doing this. So I share this with love, and I want you to use this to help yourselves access and ask yourself questions you might not be prepared to answer for a sense of exploration and a place of healing. So when I'm with an artist, and let's say it's someone like Rihanna, and I get a sense of who they are just by sitting with them, and then again, it's just going to be a proxy, so it's not really her, but I want to know why she got into this music industry in the first place. I would ask her a question, not, hey, what do you want to write today? No. I want to know who she is. And if it's Schopenhauer's theory of, what she lacked as a child, what did she lack? And I'm going to sense the way she's sitting in the room, how her micro-expressions, what her posture is, how much she does not want to talk to me. And I'll ask her, what's your favorite song of all time? Yeah, you want to try this? Okay. So you're an artist now. If you're not already, but you're an artist now. Okay. Yeah. So
Thanks.
What I noticed, I'm going to combine a few things. What I noticed is, I think part of this conversation was lacking one thing, is the emotion that is required, the unconscious unlocking of who you are is required to understand what you truly want. And that's our secret. Let me repeat that. The reason why I'm successful is because I know what I need to feel better really clearly. And if it works for me, it works for the rest of the world. So I'm going to help you unlock these things. For someone like Rihanna, it was, what was your favorite song of all time? And I'll explain why. What is your favorite song of all time?
Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush.
Kate Bush, okay. Where were you when you first heard that song?
In the office of my dad, in 11 in the night, or maybe even later.
What do you remember happening when you when you were listening to the song? What was happening in the office?
For the first time, I felt it was really special, but I didn't like fell in love with it. So I had to listen again, and when I listened again, it was like magic, and I just couldn't stop listening. And I felt like I just, at that moment, I like kind of met myself.
Great. So there was, at that point, a marker. It's called a affective marker. It was an emotional marker that was the life before that moment and the life after, right? Significant, right? For certain artists that I was working with, it was that question. And for her, her answer was, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, because it was the last song that I sang to my father before he walked out of our lives. I was like, okay, now we can start. You see? But she could not tell me that until I asked that question and provided the space of comfort for her to be able to give me that answer. Because now I know that Wuthering Heights for you is a core moment that we can pull from. It did something to you. We must now explore what it did to you. Thank you. Give her a hand. Okay. Now we want to jump in. I'll teach you some more tricks. Limbic and unconscious locking. Now, at my class at Stanford, great. So we're going to take these answers and we're writing a song in real time. And you're now officially like a K-pop band with, how many people? 500 members in here, okay? So we're going to generate a song based on these answers. Now, the more authentic it is, the more authentic it will feel, the return. Because this gauges what you truly want to feel and hear at this moment, you see? The way we want, what this does is it helps you unlock what you want to feel, therefore to process your existence at the moment. Okay, who wants to tackle on a question to unlock themselves? Okay, it's a brave audience, I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Brave ladies, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yes, okay, we'll clarify. He's taking notes, so if you don't see it on the screen, just repeat one more time. Okay. Where are you? Okay, great.
Here.
Okay. All right. Just blocking out the noise and just trying to feel you. You have an opportunity to tell your father one thing when you were 7 years old. That mic is a direct line to your father at 7 years old. But knowing what you know now, what is that one thing you would tell him?
Talking about deep questions. I guess it's a very cliche, but I wish you would love me for just the way I am or who I am.
That's not cliche. That's very honest. Thank you. Have you ever asked yourself that question?
What?
A question like that. A question that gets you to think beyond your front experience and something maybe that is behind you that's shaped who you are.
Not that exact question, but I like to ask myself questions that are not regular ones.
Right, it's good, it's good. So this is how we're starting to get to what our needs are, right? This is unlocking the brain, right? Now you can use this maliciously, so don't, but at your own risk. Okay, so, right, okay, great. So we have the beginnings of a lyric. Thank you so much. All right, who wants to try to continue? You.
Okay.
And there's no, I mean, when you do this, you can do this with your family. You can do this with, your office teams, it doesn't matter, but you must sense if they're okay with answering these questions, right? And you must be very conscious of, providing and framing the space to do this. I'm very comfortable because I do this. I've been doing this for a long time, but we're doing each other a service. We're helping unlock each other through this process, right? Effective questioning that gets you to feel something is really what the core of this is. Okay, who's ready?
Yeah.
Are you okay? And then you're next, I think. Right? Okay. All right. There's this interesting term I heard. A very prolific thought leader here. Very, very prolific. And he started talking about diplomacy and helping leaders resonate. And I think what he referred to is establishing a collective consciousness, right? Like, so we're kind of now seeing each other, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to feel who you are, get a sense of how you're sitting in your space. And I'll prove later how I do this, another part of this. Okay. Okay. You have one last meal in your life. You can pick anyone to have that last meal with, present or not present. That means not existing. Who would that be?
My mom.
So not only did that tell me that she's a very caring human being that wants to be with a family member on the last experience of dinner of her life, but also tells me the sense of character and who she is, right? Just by the tone and the response and how quickly she went there. I hope your father's okay with that, but
Easy.
yes. So what made you answer that way? Tell us more about your mom.
Well, I lost her 7 years ago, so I miss her, like I miss myself in a way. And she, all that I am is because of her, and all that she is already in me.
That's beautiful. Give her a hand. Exactly. Now, that's really beautiful. Thank you. Now, what most people will do when they prompt these platforms, they'll give something generic, like write me a song about happiness. That's nothing. That's giving them nothing. Like, it doesn't know what happiness is, first off. So it's going to mirror all the training data it's received of, like, thousands of pop songs. So it's not going to connect. Okay, let's get a few more answers. We're getting to this lyric, and we're almost there. I can see it. Okay, who wants to try? All right, you're next. He's been, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, what's your name?
Eli.
Eli, where are you from?
Caesarea.
Eli, according to neuroscience, the last sense to go is your sense of hearing. If hearing is the last sense to go, what would you like to hear as the last sound before you pass away?
Everything will be okay.
Give him a hand. Who would say that to you?
My grandpa.
What was your grandfather like?
He was a very soothing person, very calming, and I feel like I had a deep connection with him. So that I likely like to hear him tell that to me.
That's very beautiful, Eli. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is a world where we're going to be able to do that. We're doing this now. You can, you know, AI is going to allow us to not think one linear way, right? Time will be multidimensional. Like you can clone your grandfather's voice. You can do that now, right? But in this specific case, you might be needing to hear something that words do not have the bandwidth to give you. Words have a small bandwidth, right? But music has a bigger bandwidth. I am biased because I love it, but we've known music transcends language, transcends culture, transcends, it was the first way we started communicating. So maybe in this way, using an answer like that, putting it on a lyric, can give you something, right, that words can't give you. And this is why this is important. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'll try one more, and then I'll show you an example of something. Okay, you, yeah. These answers are not because you have a whole room of people and you have the opportunity to share something and be witnessed in a way that you can't do anywhere else. Although that is a bias, it's not what's going to drive you to answer this. And I don't know what I'm going to ask you. I'm just going to feel my way through this based on you and your essence. There is a place you used to go to when you were young that you felt was the safest place in the world. Can you tell me about that place? You smiled when I asked that. Where is that place?
Yeah, I remembered there was like a big mountain, like 20 minutes from my house that I used to go to with my parents, and just sitting there and watching like the view of the whole city, and everything just comes down and stops.
What did you discover there?
That I think I hold the power to my own emotional circumstances. Like that I can be relaxed within myself no matter where I am.
Is it safe to say you take that place wherever you go when you're stressed?
Yeah.
It's actually on the list of creativity, part of the skill. The ability to author your own reality is what you discovered on that mountain.
Yeah.
Give her a hand, that's great. Defining reality. So, I'm going to show you something. You got, yeah, okay. Okay. So, defining your own reality. So, self-authoring, I love this idea of creating a narrative in your head. Our brain understands the world by what we absorb. There's two states of storytelling in the brain. There's a proactive and a reactive state. If you do nothing, as far as conditioning your brain, you will receive inputs from the outer world and they will shape your thought process. That's called behavioral determinism. But if you're proactive and conscious about how you author the story of your day, just like she did and does, you can actually change the way your views and perspectives are for the outer world. Now, if you repeat this with action or follow through, an action that represents that story you tell your brain, you can actually change your behavior. This is a neurofeedback loop. But something more interesting that happens when I do, besides this discovery process of learning about people, is there's a shift when people share their personal stories, their personal experiences in real time. Would you catch this? Okay, perfect. So what I look for is not how she caught it, but I look for you, and you. What did you guys do? You were worried, exactly. He cared, because he was like, he almost went up to protect, right? And I saw over here too, they're like, that's called a collective consciousness. That's formed in 5 minutes in any space that you're in when you share vulnerability, when you're open enough. That's really powerful because now you're connected. We can measure this with brain scans. You can see that people start to connect and resonate, and their brainwave patterns start to sync up. So imagine that only by asking questions that matter to you and matter to someone else, that you can get to unlock who they are, but also unlock each other, and you start to resonate together and become almost one. That's really beautiful, and it's actually real. So that's what I discovered with working with pop stars, is once I put a mirror to their brain, and they learn to hold that mirror, they start giving me the best of themselves. And the best songs I've ever written were in this case. So there is a process to this. It's not that I don't know how this comes from, this music that I create. I know exactly how it comes from. It comes from you, right? We collaborate and write music together. So that's what I need you to do when you prompt Suno or Udio, who are being sued, right? That's what I need you to do when you prompt ChatGPT. If you're looking for a fulfillment of a deficit that's emotional or conscious, you must be able to understand what you're looking for, right? That's the power of unlocking. That's the power of creativity as a skill. So we're going to now demo this. We might fail miserably, or we might succeed. So I need a few genres. Okay, R&B. Okay, R&B. This is a K-pop band, so we're going to have to form sections here. R&B. Give me one more. Reggae. Reggae's good. Okay. Pop? Rock? Punk. Funk. Okay. R&B. Funk is good. I'm going to be a bit of a curator because I know what these platforms kind of... Jewish music. I mean, I don't know how much of the training team is in Israel, so I don't know how much access they have that, so we're going to be safe, and they probably are, actually. Okay. Yeah, let's make it simple. So R&B, funk, electronic. That's pretty simple. Remember, this is like so right now where this is at is, they're training as fast as they can. They're just like swallowing a bunch of pop music and historical music, and now getting into ethno, like different regions around the world, and try to capture as much music. But I know they've done a lot on electronic music, so I like funk, R&B, electronic. I'm giving you the parameters of where we're at now with this, and this is, again, the worst it's ever going to be. We're going to get to a state of recursive learning, so it's going to learn how to more effectively prompt itself to get into a closer need of you. When we get into the deeper levels of, interference, so when it starts to read my body temperature and all the feedbacks, we're just going to get more accurate at predicting what you want. But right now, we're like analog and digital, synthetic and organic. So the best of the human is understanding what their needs are and what is the emotional deficit they lack, so it uses to fulfill that. Now, okay, so we're using ChatGPT for lyrics because it's still the best, I think, in my opinion, as a writer training data for lyrics. So what's your prompt?
So, pretty basic. Write me a lyrics for a song in the structure of, and then we have R&B, funk, electronic, about the following.
Yeah, this is real time.
Real time.
Okay, this is literally real time, so, and you can do this. That's what we're showing you. We can do it all in one platform. You can use Suno and Udio to do this. There's two top platforms right now for music generating content. But I just feel like ChatGPT right now, based on my experience, will give us the best lyric. So now, what's your choice? Are you going to use Udio? Which platform are you going to use to take the lyric? So he's going to take the lyric we just generated, and we're going to input it into the music generating software, and it's going to take this lyric and create a pop song from this lyric. It's going to generate the singer. It's going to generate the tonality of the song based on the genre inputs. So you inputted a genre already? Okay. Okay, so let's walk through that process. Okay, so now you're going to walk through the process. You're going to copy paste. Okay? Generate lyrics. You already generated it, so just copy paste the lyric. And then, lyrics. Okay? In the style of, exactly. R&B, funk. Okay, so we're now going to create. So the thing with pop music is it's kind of a summary, a succinct version of all styles of music. And there are regional music that gets the scales to pop. In this case, we're focusing on these three genres. And the way we're measuring the success is, does it make you feel something? Does it pass your emotional Turing test? And when you answer the questions, does it connect a little bit? Right? That's what we're asking. It's where we're at. Now, is the first demo ready? How long did that take? Well, it's like 10 seconds? 5 seconds? 2 versions are ready, so we get to now curate. Okay, let's do demo 1. Remember, does it make you feel something? That's how we're going to pass this test, emotional Turing test.
In the office, felt like magic. Could not stop listening, just so met myself in the mirror's glow, found a rhythm in the workflow. Just love me the way I am, no pretenses, no grand scan. This moment I've been this myself. I am who I am because of her. Well, all that she is already in me. Her love, her strength, her legacy. Everything will be okay, I believe. Hearing it from Grandpa, he's so serene. Just love me the way I am, no pretenses, no grand scan. This moment I've been this myself. I am who I am because of her will.
Okay, that's great. All right. Now, we challenged it because we have different contexts that don't usually go together, right? We have different narratives that don't go together, but somehow it still works, right? You feel something, and it's like when you go in and you really dial in that story further, right? Like, these are the things I experienced, it's the small nuances of the stories, the details. It gets really good, and it gets scary good. Let's hear example number 2.
In the office, felt like magic. Oh, could not stop listening, just so. Met myself in the mirror's glow, found a rhythm in the workflow. Just love me the way I am, no pretenses, no grand scan. Miss mom like I miss myself. I am who I am because of her wealth. she is already in me. Her love, her strength, her legacy. Everything will be okay, I believe. Hearing it from Grandpa, he's so sweet. Just love me the way I am. No pretenses, no grandstand. Miss Mom like I miss myself. I am who I am because of her wealth.
Great. So now here's the magic. You are officially songwriters. This is, again, as bad as it's going to get, right? But it gives us a glimpse to how we can see this as a way to leverage what words can do, right? Leverage actually music as a technology, understanding how to unlock yourself and your creative self, that everyone truly is creative. It's a skill. And maybe it can bring us closer together once we understand what our needs are as people and what our needs are as a group. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, my assistant producer.
Thanks so much. Magic indeed, and I think it definitely was catchy, but not emotionally empty. So I think that we've reached the conclusion of a fascinating day. We've already received great feedbacks, and I really appreciate it. And we explored the future of creativity in the age of generative AI. And throughout the session, we're exposed to new technologies and discussed profound philosophical questions and legal challenges. And the technological revolution, basically, brings with it a dramatic change, but at the same time raise many questions like, will AI replace art, or will it actually enhance creativity? So it seems that we are on a cusp of a fundamental change. AI opens new doors to creativity, but it also presents significant challenges. So we must continue to question and investigate its impact in order to ensure and enhance creativity rather than diminish it. I would like to thank again the speakers, the distinguished speakers and panelists, and all the participants for the valuable contribution to the conference. To Ed Horowitz and Co., the managing partners, Limor and all the marketing team, to Gilly and all the team at AI Week for making this happen, and to all of you who are coming for attending this evening tonight and discussion. Let us hope that we continue together to build a future where AI and human creativity blend harmoniously. Thank you all very, very much. And there is a session now, if you're interested, Tech versus Hate, Combating Anti-Semitism, online at Bar Shira. If you're interested, you are very welcome. Thank you all and have a good evening.